City News is brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation.
Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News. The clean-up of Lake Rotorua get a funding boost of $24 million. The RDC postpones their hearing into their draft policy on psychoactive substances. And at almost the halfway mark, Rotoiti and Whakarewarewa are in the top 5 of the Baywide Premier Rugby competition. Local MP Todd McClay has said the reallocation of $24 million of government funding is the final piece of the puzzle needed to clean up Lake Rotorua once and for all. At a media conference yesterday, Mr McClay, along with Mayor Steve Chadwick, confirmed the funding program. The $24 million will be matched with funding from the Regional Council, which takes the total fund to $48 million. Steve Chadwick says it's great news for the community.
This is a stunning outcome for us in Rotorua. It's the next step on a long journey that started in 2000, but well done to Todd as our MP for securing this funding. With an election coming up, it's always worrying that something on the table could be pulled to go to other pressures around the rest of the country. So for us, for our lakes water quality journey, this is great news. And so well done to Todd, well done to the Minister, and also Regional Council, because there's been a bit of toing and froing to get the right information to give the Minister confidence that we will spend this money wisely.
The RDC is postponing Thursday's scheduled hearing on the Council's draft policy on psychoactive substances. In a press release, Mayor Chadwick says Council made the decision after Sunday's announcement by government of the banning of the substances. She says she's pleased the government has listened to the strong messages from councils like ours and heard the concerns of the community. Meanwhile, MP Todd McClay says the banning of psychoactive substances is great news for Rotorua.
These so-called legal highs, and I don't like that name because when you call them legal highs it sounds like they're okay, and I'm not sure that they are. So these psychoactive substances, the government has announced that we're going to put some more legislation through Parliament under urgency to take away the temporary licences for the 41 remaining products, and that will happen over the next week as soon as Parliament's back. A year ago, Parliament passed legislation, 119 votes in favour, only one against, to reduce harm. Now, at the time, a lot of people thought it was about a ban, but Wayne, nowhere in the world has been able to effectively ban these products, because every time we banned one previously, and we banned 40 of them, the manufacturers would create new ones or change them slightly, and hundreds more came to the market. So since the legislation came into effect, and I was the minister at the time responsible for this, I'd been a minister for 2 weeks, we've gone from 2,000 or 3,000 stores around New Zealand to just 150. In Rotorua there were 20 to 30 shops selling, some dairies near schools and in residential areas. We've gone to just 4, and there were 200 or 300 products, and today with temporary licences there are only 41.
More than 80 people and groups have made submissions to the Bay of Plenty Regional Council's draft annual plan. Submissions closed last month. A local topic covered by submitters included wastewater treatment in the Rotorua Lakes communities. Chairman Doug Leader says the council is proposing operating expenditure of $95.5 million, which would allow for more spending in specific areas such as water management. Public hearings will be held in early May for those who wish to present their submission in person. The council will deliberate on the 29th of May before adopting the final annual plan on June the 26th. In sport tonight, Rotoiti joins Whakarewarewa in the top half of the points table for the Baywide Premier Rugby competition with their 50-point win over Rangatoa at the weekend. The local teams are at 4th and 5th placing. However, tough times are ahead this weekend when both teams play away against competition leaders Tauranga Sports and Te Puke Sports. To your weather update now. Tonight, showers clearing with westerly winds and an overnight low of 3. Tomorrow, Wednesday, fine spells with a chance of an afternoon shower, light winds, a high of 16 and a low of 4. And looking out to Thursday, fine with light winds, a high of 16 and a low of 5. And the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Wednesday, variable 5 knots with waves less than half a metre, and it looks mainly fine. Remember, for program listings and to upload your videos, check out our website tvrotorua.co.nz, or you can look us up on Facebook. Still to come tonight on City News, we meet concerned mum Kirsty Rowland to talk about the issue of young children being left unattended in cars. Helen Solomon catches up with Inspector Ed Vandenbroek, and Joanna Doherty has news of what's on at the museum.
Well, I'm catching up with a young mum today by the name of Kirsty Rowland, who has been witness of people leaving their kids in the car, not on one occasion, but on several different occasions at various supermarkets around town. So we're going to chat with her and then catch up with Inspector Vandenbroek to find out what the law is about leaving kids unattended. Hi Kirsty, thanks for joining us today. Now the reason we've come to talk to you because you've had a few experiences with people leaving their kids in the car unattended, which is totally unacceptable, but you've had more personal experience with this than most people because you've been quite witnesses to it. So take us through what you've seen and what you've experienced.
Yeah, so I've had 3 different occasions. One supermarket, there were 2 toddlers in the car, probably about 4 years old. I was waiting outside for about 20 minutes until the parents came out. Another one was at New World, where there was another couple of toddlers in there. I got the trolley guy to run in and call over the intercom, and a week later when I went back to Pack and Save, there was a little baby in a capsule, so only a few months old, and a toddler in there, and I just got sick of it. So I went in, called over the intercom, and I've since researched it a bit more and found out that you can actually go to the police and call 111 over it rather than just leave it and wait for the parents to come out. But yeah, I'm just fed up with it.
That's pretty shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the first instance where you mentioned you waited for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
What was the reaction when the parents came out and saw you standing by their car?
They just gave me the evils. Yeah. I didn't want to put myself in a dangerous situation because I had my kids with me as well. I'd just been into the supermarket and took my kids in with me, so it made me furious to come out to see that someone can't take an extra 5 minutes out of their day and take their kids in with them.
What about the reaction from the people who work at the supermarkets when you've gone in to ask to use the intercom system?
Yeah, like they do it, but I think they get it quite a bit because one of the ladies rolled her eyes like, another one, not rolling her eyes at me that she wasn't happy to help, but that it's happened again.
What would you like to see happen, Kirsty?
Just take your kids in shopping. It's not that hard. I mean, my kids aren't perfect, but it's worth a tantrum, putting up with a tantrum and stuff, than coming out and your kids could be gone or worse, they could be dead. It's just not fair. It's not their fault.
Now you mentioned you made contact with the police. What did they say?
They said any occasion, if I feel that the kids are in danger or I'm not happy with the situation, just call 111, don't hesitate ever.
Now, Kirsty, if there's any mums and dads who are watching who do leave their kids in the car, do you have a message for them?
Just take them in shopping. It's not worth, a tragedy happening, and it's not their fault at the end of the day.
Yeah, good stuff.
But yeah.
All right, Kirsty, appreciate your time.
Cool.
Hi Ed, good to have you on the show again. Just recently in local media there's been some attention drawn to mums and dads leaving their kids in the car, especially at supermarkets. What's the policing's point of view regarding this issue and the actual law about leaving kids unattended?
Yeah, look, it's an issue that I'm sure every town deals with, where parents or guardians leave their children in the car. I think it's okay, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong. I mean, if you're dealing with a very young child being left in the car, you're breaking the law, because under 6-year-olds can't be abandoned, and so there's a specific offence for that. And of course it's a common sense thing not to leave your baby or your small child in the car. Kids a little bit older than that, up to the age of 14, you're still responsible for them. Again, you need to make sure that they're in a safe environment, and in a short space of time a lot of things can go wrong. I mean, the child can start playing with the vehicle, leave the vehicle, wander off, and the possibilities of something going wrong then are pretty easy to imagine. So
Now, regarding leaving kids in the car at the supermarket for, say, half an hour, as opposed to, say, running into the dairy for 2 minutes to get some milk, would the police deal with that case by case?
Oh, definitely. You know, we don't see things as black and white, so we'll take every case on its own merits and deal with the people appropriately.
Is there many cases reported here in Rotorua for people leaving their kids in the cars?
No, not an overly large amount get reported to the police. I would say only a handful per week, and we'll, as I've said, we'll deal with that on a case-by-case basis. Quite often it's for a very short period of time, and it may just involve a warning for the parents. But sometimes we will take prosecution action against the parents, or certainly advise SIFs if we see there's further issues that need to be addressed.
At what stage do you think supermarkets should take some responsibility and having maybe the young boys that get their trolleys take note of things like that?
Well, it's certainly an idea and something that they can report to the police. But again, you know, it comes down to a case-by-case basis.
All right, good stuff, Ed. Appreciate your time.
No problems.
Thank you. Well, we're catching up with Inspector Ed Vanderbroek from the Rotorua Police Station today. We're going to be talking about a few different issues that are happening around town and find out what's going on. Hi Ed, good to have you on the show again. Now, just recently we've noticed quite an increase of the police presence in town. Why is that?
Okay, well, firstly, we've appointed a community constable here into the CBD, and he's based at the City Focus. His role is to liaise with all the shop owners, deter any offending in the CBD, and be a point of contact for anybody in the CBD that has any issues or troubles that they want to report.
Even though it's early days, have we had any feedback from retailers?
The feedback we've had so far has been very positive. Pete Reardon, Constable Pete Reardon is his name, and he's able to go around the stores and give crime prevention advice, help out with any particular issues that shop owners may have. And of course we're supplementing that as we normally do during the school holiday period with extra police staff out on the beat as well.
Now, when you mention crime prevention advice, can you expand on that?
Well, certainly with shoplifting or other property from stores going missing, we're able to provide advice to shop owners around that particular type of problem.
Now, it's obviously the school holidays and it's wet here in town. There's lots of kids around town. Is there generally an increase of nuisances and things like that in town?
Well, you get more people coming to town because obviously the school kids are got time on their hands. So we do find there's more people in town. We increase our police presence so it deters anybody from acting up or causing any problems or committing any offences like shoplifting.
Now, with Pete obviously stationed at the City Focus for the day, can people just rock in and say, hey Pete, whatever's happening in town, or we've noticed something suspicious, and then he'll pretty much just go from there?
Yeah, absolutely, but he's out and about a lot of the time as well. He's not sitting in the City Focus. He's based there. He spends a bit of time at the police station, but most of the time he's out and about in the community talking to people.
So the public shouldn't treat the City Focus as a police station or the stop shop?
If there's an issue that people need to report, then certainly the police station's the first port of call.
Now, obviously synthetic cannabis has been in the news quite a lot lately, especially here in Rotorua. We've still got a few shops that sell it, and we had the protest a couple of weeks ago. Since then, have the police or yourself noticed an increase or decrease with incidences relating to that?
Well, since the synthetic drugs have been sold here, we've noticed a great increase in the use of the products. We're seeing it amongst our young people here in the CBD. Obviously it's an R18 product, but the young people are getting their hands on it. We're also noticing a lot more in the community. We attend a lot of domestics that are based on that particular type of product use, whether it's money being blown on that type of product, cutting the budget for the family. And so we're seeing it affects us a lot. We're seeing a great impact on the community by these products, and particularly in the CBD where some of the young people that we're dealing with are completely out of it. You know, we've pulled up alongside young people lying on the footpath. We've actually switched on the siren. They don't even know that the police car's there.
That's scary. It
is. Or they've been extremely aggressive, extremely violent. It's the same with older people as well that are constantly smoking these products. It's really coming to our notice, and it's taking up more and more of our time, which is quite surprising because on the other hand, alcohol is dropping off in usage. It's being managed a lot better, particularly through the licensed premises, and so we're now lowering the amount of incidents involving alcohol, but we're increasing the incidents that we attend involving synthetic drugs.
That's quite an interesting stat, really, you know, considering that alcohol has been a major problem in a lot of cities around New Zealand. What's the police's point of view with regards to decriminalising marijuana? You know, as opposed to, you know, getting, you know, legal highs completely banned.
Well, look, you know, I can't comment on behalf of New Zealand Police, but certainly we do have a high usage of the synthetic drugs in Rotorua, and it's certainly something that's taken up a lot of our time. Rather than us catching burglars, we're having to deal with people that are affected by these products.
Now, just before we go, Ed, across the road, police station's almost finished, only a couple of weeks away. Is your team pretty excited about moving shop?
Oh, absolutely. I've had a look through there earlier on this week, and it's looking fantastic inside. Everybody else is pretty excited about moving in. Yeah, everything's brand new. Much better facility than what we had previously, and even our temporary facility, so it's going to be very exciting to have us all move into the new station.
What is going to happen to the temporary police station?
Well, our lease expires on the building that we're occupying at Spencer's at the moment, and I'm sure that the owner will find some new occupants for the premises.
Right, Ed, good to catch up again. Appreciate your time.
No problems at all.
Well, there were over 50 entries in the Capture the Rapture photo competition, and the winning photos of the New Zealand Falcons were on display here at the Rotorua Museum. And joining me today is Sales and Marketing Manager here at the museum, Joe Doherty. Thanks for joining us today, Joe. Now, why would you want to make a competition of people taking photos of falcons?
Well, we've had this, the New Zealand Falcon release happened at the museum early in January, and ever since the release of the falcons, we've had hundreds of people coming to the museum to see the falcons, but obviously bringing their cameras with them because they don't seem to be afraid of human contact. You can get quite close to them, so lots of people were capturing beautiful photos of the falcons, loading them on our Facebook page, sending them to us at the museum. So we thought, well, why not run a competition? There's so many beautiful photos out there. We'll run a competition.
Now, in the intro I mentioned there was over 50 entries. Were you quite surprised of that many?
Yeah, I mean, it was fabulous, and obviously that was 50 different people entering, and there were lots and lots of photographs, so it was fantastic. And then we had over 800 people voting for their favourite falcon photos, so it's been a really popular competition.
So is that how the winners were found, by the public coming in and voting?
Well, there were different ways that they could vote. They could either vote online through our Facebook page or Wingspan's Facebook page, or they could go into Wingspan or come into the museum and vote, looking at the hard copies of the photos as well. So there are different ways that people could come and vote. And the winners were selected by the public vote, but we also had some judges' choice winners as well.
Cool. So how many categories were there?
There were 3 different categories, and we had 4 finalists in each of those categories.
So that's 12 altogether?
Yeah. 12 altogether. So the different categories were the best falcon portrait, the best action shot of a falcon in flight or doing something, and then the best human interaction, because people could get so close to them. There are lots of photos coming in with people actually doing things with the falcons, or people with the falcons in the background, and even one photograph where a falcon landed in somebody's kitchen on top of their fridge.
Wow. Now, I mentioned also that these winning photos are now on display here at the museum, so people can come along and view them.
Yep, they're on display in the museum cafe, so that's free for people to come in and have a look. There's 6 photographs on display, so the 3 winners of the public vote in each category and the 3 winners of the judge's choice in each category.
Now let's talk about the winners, because I'd imagine with all those different photos it would have been pretty tough to choose them really, but let's just focus on the winners, especially the Supreme Award.
Yeah, so the Supreme Award winner went to Jill Wong. She's a local Rotorua, and her photograph won the people's vote, or the public vote, in the Falcon Portrait category. It's an absolutely stunning photograph. The falcon's looking right down the camera, and the colours are just wonderful in it.
Wow. This is sort of the photo that you see will display your way, eh?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So now that the competition's finished, do you guys still keep a track of the falcons, and have you been able to see what they've been up to?
Well, all 3 falcons still have their monitoring devices on them, so they are still radio tracked, but those devices are going to be coming off shortly, so we'll then have less of an idea whereabouts the falcons are, because they are wild birds. They can really go anywhere they like now. We do still feed them each day, so if people are wanting to see the falcons, the best time is probably early in the morning when the food goes out, so around 8:30, and sometimes they'll be on the feed tables at 5:30 in the evening as well, that kind of dusk time. But really it is a bit of a lottery. They're wild birds, there's no guarantees, but we tend to have seen them around those times most often.
Now Joe, there's also an exhibition here as well. Tell us a bit about that.
Yep, there's an exhibition that's on in our foyer, so that's free for people to come and have a look at, and it lets people know about the project and the release of the falcons, which has been the first ever urban release of a threatened species in New Zealand, so it's a landmark project from that point of view. It also tells you a little bit about Wingspan, the National Bird of Prey Trust, and the wonderful work that they do, not just with falcons but also with our other endangered birds of prey. And that's on at the back of the foyer, and anybody can come and have a look at that at any time.
Now this project has obviously been a huge success for you guys here at the museum and also at Wingspan. Is there scope for doing this again in the future?
We hope to, and in fact it's been such a success that we've just won the 2014 Museums of Aotearoa Award for Best Museum Project, so that was a wonderful award to win. Yes, we're talking with Wingspan about doing it again next year, and so fingers crossed. It takes a huge amount of resource. We've had over 70 volunteers involved in the project, just monitoring the falcons, and there's lots and lots of keen people out there who've really enjoyed the project, and it's brought a new dimension to Rotorua.
Now we've been out to Wingspan and did some filming there where they actually feed the falcons with a piece of rope, and they trick the falcon to come in and then pull it away. Yeah. So again, this is an amazing thing for our city, but also for the country.
It is, and the falcons that we've released here are wild birds of prey now. Wingspan do think that they will overnight, or one pair will overwinter here in the government gardens or in this area. So we're hoping that not only will we do the release again next year, but the birds that have been released this year might be part of that same release as parents.
Yeah, well, that'd be awesome. Now we're almost out of time, Joe, but do you think it could be dangerous for the safety of these birds, being them so close to the public and to people?
Well, I guess from that perspective it's been a pilot project. We really didn't know what to expect, and which is why we've had such a major monitoring team in force, just checking up on them and making sure that at night in particular, because they in the wild they roost on the ground, so that they were actually getting up into a tree to roost and away from the dangers like cars and things in an urban environment. Once we stop that monitoring, we really don't know, but in the wild there's a very, very small percentage of fledglings survive past their first year.
So I think Gareth Morgan would be on that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well, this project is all about giving them the best chance to survive in the wild.
That's awesome. I appreciate your time. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News was brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation.